One of the biggest criticisms of Nintendo's latest console, the Switch, is that its launch lineup seems a little bit anemic. While The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild certainly looks incredible, some of the other games don't seem like they'll be such big system sellers. Nintendo, painfully aware of this, has turned to showcasing their indie games. They released a video showcasing these games, referring to them as Nindies. That is a portmanteau of Nintendo and Indies, and yes, I think it sounds dumb. But what isn't dumb is that they have over 60 indie games set to hit the system in 2017 alone. Here are 5 games worth keeping an eye out for if you decide to get the Nintendo Switch. Number 1. Steamworld Dig 2. As a huge fan of the original Steamworld Dig, as well as Steamworld Heist, I'm pretty thrilled to see that Steamworld Dig 2 is coming to the Switch. In case you've not heard of it, what you should know is that the first game, Steamworld Dig, is a Metroidvania platformer in which you play as a robot named Rusty. He's inherited these mines and they're full of valuable resources, as well as a strange, dark mystery. In the game's sequel, you play as Dorothy, a character from the first game, who goes in search of Rusty, who's gone missing in the first. Personally, I really love the gameplay of Steamworld Dig. It combines Metroidvania-style exploration with digging, mining, and procedurally generated levels. It's a little bit like Terraria, but with a cute steampunk twist, and it's a bit more tightly focused on upgrading your character and pickaxe in order to fight off the increasingly dangerous enemies and discover whatever mystery it is that's at the bottom of the mine. From the looks of Steamworld Dig 2, it seems that you're going to be getting a closer look at whatever that mystery is. I am really looking forward to Steamworld Dig 2. A Steamworld game has yet to disappoint me. Also, I feel that it's worth mentioning that Steamworld Dig and Heist were initially released on the Nintendo 3DS before being released for home consoles and PC. Those games were fun both on mobile devices as well as on home consoles. Seeing as the Nintendo Switch is pretty much both, I have a feeling that Steamworld Dig 2 is going to be great, whether you're playing it on the go or at home. Number 2. Tumbleseed. Tumbleseed is a game that caught my attention a while back. It's a roguelike platformer in which your goal is pretty simple: make your way up the mountain. Accomplishing this, however, may prove tricky as there are a number of obstacles and enemies in your way. You could fall down a hole or run into some nasty spikes. Fortunately, your seed isn't completely defenseless, as you can pick up power-ups that allow you to evade danger, fill holes, and fight back against hazards. Tumbleseed is also in development for PS4 and PC. Why I suspect it'll do particularly well on the Switch is because it takes advantage of the HD rumble feature of the Switch's Joy-Cons. I'm really curious to see just how advanced haptic feedback plays into this sort of game. Seeing as Tumbleseed is coming out this spring, it'll probably be available rather early in the Switch's lifecycle. Number 3. Splasher. It seems that we have quite the glut of high-quality indie platformers coming to the Switch. Splasher has already been released on Steam for Mac, Windows, and Linux, and it's a sleeper hit over there. The premise of Splasher is pretty straightforward. You're armed with a paint cannon that allows you to use different colors on your environment for different effects, bouncing off of or sticking to walls, for instance, in order to escape traps, evade enemies, and get through levels as quickly as possible. The game's developers worked on the Rayman series, and the inspiration from those games comes through pretty clearly in Splasher, from its style to its sense of humor. It's also rather reminiscent of Super Meat Boy, and the mechanic of painting the environment to modify movement seems like something straight out of Portal 2. Thus far, the reviews have been tremendously positive for Splasher, so while I've not yet tried it, I recommend checking it out on the Switch once it's available. Number 4. Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is already a huge hit on PC. Released on Steam last year, it's an RPG that takes after the likes of Harvest Moon. You're in charge of running your own farm, but in between your agricultural responsibilities, you're also busy making friends with people in town, exploring the surrounding countryside, and much more. Stardew Valley seems like it'll be a big hit on the Switch in large part because these sorts of games, stuff like Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing, they've traditionally been Nintendo offerings. Further, Stardew Valley is a game with a lot of content. It's the sort of game you'll be popping into to play regularly, and it could help give the Switch much longer legs. So while the Zeldas and the Marios will help the Switch find an audience, games like Stardew Valley will help it to hold on to them. Number 5. Terraria. It's hardly a surprise that Terraria is currently in development for the Nintendo Switch. In case you're somehow unfamiliar with the smash hit that is Terraria, all you really need to know is that this is a sandbox platformer in which you're free to do whatever you want. Want to build a mansion out of exotic wood? You can. Want to dig deep beneath the world and fight monsters? You can do it in Terraria. Interested in diverting the water from a lake in order to create a flood somewhere? You've got the freedom to do this in Terraria. Terraria is one of my favorite games on PC, and I'm probably going to wind up getting it onto Switch. While it's a lot of fun to play alone, it really shines in multiplayer. There's nothing quite like going on an adventure with your friends to the depths of a world. Additionally, the developers have positively spoiled the players with free content. There have been a substantial number of content updates that brought new things to experience, new bosses to fight, new items to use, on and on and on. Expect to play a lot of Terraria if you pick up the Switch. Now these are just 5 of the games that I'm looking forward to on the Switch. Do any of these catch your eye? What Switch games are you looking forward to? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and be sure to follow us for all the greatest game news and editorials. Follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my own views.